When I was 14, I didn't have a computer at home, so there was no internet for me. But back then, it didn't really matter because everyone I knew went to cyber cafes. Those little places with rows of PCs where you paid by the hour to use them. Some shops even set up computers outside to try and pull more customers in. I'd often go to the one closest to my house. It was a cramped hole in the wall that always smelled faintly of stale coffee and cigarettes. The computers inside were almost always packed with people playing games, and it was there that I discovered Counter Strike. As the only girl among a bunch of rowdy boys, I quickly attracted attention. At first, it was mocking. Girls can't play this, they'd laugh. But after a while, things changed. I was good, too good. And soon, everyone wanted me on their team. But there was always this guy. He wasn't anything special at first, just a random guy who came in and out doing his thing on the computer outside. I didn't even notice him. Not really. I was too busy getting better at the game, too focused on the boys who by then had almost accepted me into their crew. Still, something about him made me uneasy. Call it a woman's intuition. But that's the thing about feeling unsafe when you're young. You often brush it off, dismiss it as nothing. Maybe he's just a regular customer. One evening, I had to leave early because my parents were hosting a dinner for my sister Florella, who was about to graduate. As I stepped outside, I noticed him, the guy who had been lurking at the periphery of my world. He'd wrapped up whatever he was doing and stood up at the same time as I did, like it was planned. I felt a jolt of unease, but I pushed it down and waved a quick goodbye to the owner, who was smoking just outside. He was already walking behind me by the time I started walking towards my home, and I could feel his presence, a slow creep that made my skin crawl. He introduced himself,
Hi, my name is Nick.
his voice smooth but unsettling.
What's yours?
He asked like we were friends. I gave him a quick reply, but all I wanted was to get away. He asked where I lived, how I got so good at the game, and if I could teach him. I was too polite to refuse outright. I tried to leave the conversation without being rude. I'm sure there are better players than me. I tried to brush him off and make it clear I wasn't interested. He didn't take the hint. He was still walking with me, and I had to think of something to get rid of him. I took out my phone and acted like I was calling my father. Hey dad, I just left the cafe. Can you please pick me up if you are done patrolling the area? At the word patrolling, Nick faltered. His step slowed and he then stopped altogether. Without another word, he turned around and walked away. Relief washed over me as I hurried to catch the next bus home. The next evening, I stayed at the cafe later than usual, hoping to avoid that creep. By the time I left, the streets were quieter, and I felt a bit safer. I know it's weird, but that's what I felt at that time. But as I turned onto a secluded lane, I saw him again. He was leaning against a tree, half hidden in the shadows. The dim streetlight barely illuminated his face, but that unsettling smile was unmistakable. My heart dropped and I came to a sudden halt. He was looking right at me with a menacing smile. He stepped out of the shadows, his eyes fixed on me. I froze for a moment before forcing myself to keep walking. He fell into step beside me, his presence unnerving. I shook off the feeling and started to walk faster, ignoring him as he started to walking by my side and talking again, following me down the street. And as usual, I gave him curt replies or ignored some of his remarks. He was persistent. He said he was 22, working as an electrician, and offered to give me a lift home whenever I needed.
The streets are not safe.
I don't know whether to laugh at the ironic statement or bolt out of here. I declined his offer and thought of trying yesterday's trick again. But as soon as I took out my phone, I was stunned to hear his next words.
Calling your realtor dad.
My My fingers fumbled. My brain stopped working. It was a classic flight or fight situation.
Did you really think I wouldn't know?
I didn't say anything and started to walk a bit faster, but Nick came straight in front of me in a confrontational manner.
I'm just really disappointed about you lying to my face. I just wanted to be your friend, Julie.
Of course, he knew my name as well. My stomach churned. I'm 14, I said bluntly, hoping that would make him stop. But no. He took a step closer, and I took a step back.
I know that already, Julie. I don't say anything wrong here. A pretty girl like you would need protection, as you are always by yourself, and I can give that.
I was so numb by then that I couldn't get a proper reaction anymore. I took a look at my surroundings. Unfortunately, there was no one on the road, and it made me panic. He took another step closer.
What do you say?
Just as he said that, I saw the cafe owner walking right towards us. I bolted as soon as I saw him. He was understandably perplexed. Whoa there, kid, what happened? Please help me, call 911. This guy is. I turned to look back at Nick, but he was gone. The store owner reopened his store so that I could wait until the police arrived. I called my parents and they came as soon as they could. Cops were also there within 15 minutes and I briefed them about all the things that happened to me these past few days. Apparently, the guy I was describing was a pretty known face in the area, and for all the bad reasons. He was recently charged for stalking another girl who got a restraining order against him. As the police took my statement, they promised to look into Nick's whereabouts. I didn't feel entirely reassured though. The fact that he had known my name, my habits, my dad's profession sent a chill down my spine. How much more did he know about me? Did he know where I lived? The police did their best, patrolling the streets, checking the cafe's security cameras, but Nick had vanished, slipped through their fingers like smoke. To them, it was just another stalking case. To me, it was a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. I began to hope that maybe he was gone for good, that I could finally start to feel normal again. Then one night, the silence broke. My phone buzzed. The message was from an unknown number.
Hey Julie, I know you are worried about the legal age things. That's why I decided to give you a visit after you turn 18. And then we can finally be together without any problems.
I'm 20 now, and yes, I am still holding my breath, preparing for the worst situation. I am wishful that he may have left for good, but I am never going to take my guard down. Ever.